Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. So in today's video, I'm going to be reading more of the Unwanteds. So in just a second, I'll tell you what I'll be doing. Reading a good amount, or reading through a chapter, or reading how many chapters. I'll see whenever I have time for it. But I'm going to let you know right now in just 1 second. Okay, so I will be, let's see. I could read one chapter for you guys, and then I can read some more later if I do get the chance to. I also have another book I'm reading. I'm reading more about Leonardo da Vinci, but I don't feel like posting that one on YouTube because I just want to do that as like an independent read. And the one that Unwanted, I'm just reading out loud because it motivates me to read more. So enough of me chit-chatting, and without further ado, let's get started. Okay, one last thing. The chapter name is One by One, The Warriors. After the initial shock, Alex is truly glad for Megan, thinking surely he'd not be far behind. After all, he was excelling in painting and drawing, and had advanced to charcoals and sculpting, for which he had a special knack. The normally stern Miss Octavia gave him the highest marks in everything and praised him until he grew red in the face. Though he 2 hands compared to her 8, he exceeded every assignment and finished with speed and grace. His attention to detail was well beyond his years. Marvelous and pretty accurate, Miss Octavia had said of Alex's charcoal sketch of the sea, speckled with islands in the distance. Simply primitive, she'd praised when Alex showed her his stark sculpture replica of the high priest Justine's palace. And with all this praise, every day Alex waited anxiously for his private lesson, hoping to hear the same news that Megan had received already, that Miss Octavia would be talking to Mr. Today about advancing him to magical warrior training. But every day, in the awkward silence, at the end of each session, she merely praised him for his stunning work and sent him on without another word. Soon, Lonnie, and a month later, some he'd joined the ranks of student warriors, leaving Alex as the only one in his group of friends not to have earned a coveted component vest, which the others wore proudly to class. Conversations grew awkward. Alex took to brooding alone rather than share the pain of what he perceived as his failures. Megan was especially thoughtful about not discussing warrior classes too much in front of Alex. But there were times when even she couldn't help but show off a spell. Megan could now lull a person or creature into a trance with her singing, and her high-pitched piccolo could cause someone to turn tail and run away screaming. When she danced the fire step, whomever she aimed her focus toward would suddenly feel his feet grow warm, then hot, then near blistering. He was a quick study in the soliloquy, and he had mastered several styles by now that all had different effects on people. His dagger spell was most impressive for those he used it on. Would see and feel a magical dagger plunging into their chests, and they'd fall to the ground, stunned, though the spell did not actually damage them. He could also call horse, and an invisible steed would come to him and take him wherever he wanted to go. He practiced this one often on the lawn outside, although once he tried it in his room, which made a terrible mess. And he even ventured into the forest with the steed on a few occasions. But each time he quickly returned to the lawn, having gotten the wits scared out of him, first by a large gray wolf, and then by Simber, the prowling winged cheetah statue, who apparently had left his post by the mansion door and was out on a hunt for food that evening. But Megan and even Samhid were careful not to perform any magic on Alex, since he couldn't fight back. Lonnie, on the other hand, was quickly becoming a big pain in Alex's side. She wouldn't leave him alone, and she didn't seem to understand how gut-wrenchingly awful Alex was feeling about having been passed by a 12-year-old, and how embarrassed he'd been when she magically changed his lines in actor's studio as a joke. And when she made him fall asleep at dinner by using a secret face, one day at lunch, Lonnie put Alex to sleep and he fell face first into his soup. He awoke immediately with a sputter. What? What is your problem? He shouted when he had his wits about him again. He grabbed his napkin and began to wipe his face. But there were noodles in his hair, and a small slice of carrot stuck to his cheek. Lonnie giggled. Even Megan had to hide a smile, and Sophie just smirked. Alex looked down at his soiled shirt, and then he set his napkin on the table. He stood, pushed his chair in, and left without a word. Without looking back, Megan's eyes widened, and she almost stood to go after him. But Lonnie waved him off. He's just a sore head, she said. You should tell him you're sorry, Megan said. It was just a joke. He'll get over it. Lonnie didn't apologize to Alex. He'd had all he could stand. From that point on, Alex withdrew from the others and took his medals in his room. And since they used the blackboards to call on him, he shut them all out by putting Clive, his blackboard, on permanent shush. He spent his free time in his room, drawing and painting like mad, desperate to improve enough to make it to the warrior level of instruction. Late in the evenings, when his arms ached and loneliness clawed at his inside, he lay on his bed and thought about home, and about Aaron, and about what Samhid had said. Alex still had a hard time believing that his brother Aaron would have reported a fellow classmate. Why would Aaron do something like that? Many nights Alex chose to stand by his brother in favor of Samhid after all. Alex knew his brother best of anyone, didn't he? And he knew from experience that Aaron was creative too. He'd just never been caught. If only Alex had known before the purge what being unwanted really meant. He would have reported his brother in an instant so they could be together. Oh, Aaron, he'd groaned, feeling helpless to save him. Alex began to miss Aaron terribly now that he felt so distant from his friends. And even though there was nothing that could bring Alex back together with his twin, he sometimes got a feeling or a notion, almost like he could sense Aaron's presence and understand his thoughts. This made Alex feel even more alone. He wondered what Aaron was doing, how his studies at Wanted University were going, and what he especially and what he was especially good at. He wondered if Aaron was sad as Alex was sometimes. No, probably not, Alex said. He grew so lonely that recently he had begun chatting aloud, even arguing with himself. It's impossible for Quillans to feel anywhere near as sad as we can feel here in Artemate. But he believes that I'm dead. That's got to make him sad, Alex argued. Don't forget where you came from, Alex. He's forgotten you, like he was taught to do. And yet Alex couldn't help feeling like Aaron was somehow different because of their birth link. That maybe, just maybe, Aaron was mourning for him. Over time, Alex grew convinced that Aaron belonged here in Artemate too. Okay, guys, that's all I'm going to be reading for today. And I might read later. I'm not sure yet, but if that, then just, how do I say it? Just wait for another video tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, yeah. Wednesday morning if I don't post one later today. So, have a great day, guys. Happy Tuesday. Better than Monday, but I have no school, so Mondays are not the worst. Well, bye, guys. I hope you have an amazing day. Hopefully, it's not going to be gloomy or anything. But bye, guys. Enjoy the weather if it's going to be nice out and not rainy again. Bye.